Thanks, Amy. That was some very shocking statistics that you presented there. I'm going to be talking on a somewhat lighter note, but it's still important because what I'm talking about is your education. My topic is body language. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "The telltale body is all tongues." He's talking about the human body, your hands, your eyes, your nose. It's all just tongues because it's all just tools that we use to communicate with each other, and that's what body language is. I've always been fascinated with body language for about 4 years. I started out reading about it through playing poker, but I realized it encompasses a lot of facets of your life, and education is no exception. Some people seem to think that body language is somewhat of a pseudoscience, like there's some sort of magic to it, or it's not really real, it's just in the movies. The United States Supreme Court would disagree. In the case Terry versus Ohio, they decided that police can gain probable cause through use of body language. So I want to talk today as students, as lecture receivers, as information gatherers, because professional information gatherers like FBI agents or doctors making a diagnosis use body language to help them gain more information. I think you should as students too. Deborah Villadaro, in her article, "Classroom Gestures Studied for Effects on Learning," showed that if two students were shown a video and one of them had body language, the other one didn't, the student that was shown the body language scored higher on a test that was given directly after. So I'm going to prove to you that classroom body language should be actively considered by students by first showing that most people don't get the most from the information in a lecture. Second, I'll show you what causes these difficulties for students and the way they affect us as students. Finally, I will urge you to take an active role in classroom body language. Moving on to my first point. What's the problem? The problem is that we get all this body language and we're actually fluent in it. According to Shelley Wilcom in her article, "What Did You Say? Body Language More Telling Than Words," people are fluent in 100% of body language, but only on the subconscious level. We don't actively think about it. That's why we don't remember it. Also, we're losing a lot of information here. Only 7% of the information that you get in class is from actual words. 93% is from body language. Should have thought about that one. Thank you. Okay, 7% from words, 93% from body language. That includes vocal intonation, movement, and eye contact. Moving on to my second point. Hockenberry and Hockenberry show that the reason, in their book Discovering Psychology, that the reason we forget things is because we don't think about them. We don't encode them in our memory. That's the reason we forget most of the information we learn through body language. If we would just take the simple step of taking a minute to think about it, we'd increase the amount of knowledge we get from our lectures from 7% to closer to 93%. So that's the cause. The effects is obviously if we're forgetting this information, we're not going to have it on test day. Now let me move on to the solution. Joe Navarro, FBI body language expert and FBI retiree who worked with counterintelligence interviewing terrorists, said in his book Read 'em and Read, there's 3 main points to reading body language. Observe, active observation, eye contact, and empathy. Active observation simply means getting into it, actually thinking about it, not just letting it pass through you like you would in a conversation with your friends. Eye contact, you want to maintain eye contact because you naturally read body language through your peripheral vision. Since we were born, we've been reading it down here because we're talking to our friends like this, and the body language is always down here. So don't actually look at the hands or anything, it'll just confuse you. And empathy. Empathy means getting into someone's head. What made them do that? Why did they do this? Now, in conclusion, I've showed you that there's a problem. We're forgetting most of the body language we learned, which is most of the information teachers are giving us. I've showed you the cause of this, because we don't encode it in our memory, and the effects. Obviously, we get worse grades. And I've also showed you how to solve that problem through reading body language with the advice of a known FBI expert. Now, this brings up a question, is this ethical? Well, I think it definitely is. Because it's not like you're playing poker with your teacher and you're against them. You're both working for a common goal. They want you to have this information. And there may be some bits of information they don't want you to have. Like, for example, I don't want you guys to know that I'm nervous, but you may have noticed that I was shaking a little bit. That's my body language giving you a message. But it's not your fault for observing that. So, I hope you can now take advantage of the telltale body. Thank you.